Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Session. Today, John is joining me. I've known John now for a few years. John is UK based. I think we met at an event, John, didn't we, back in 2017, 18, up in Manchester, I do believe, for
Maybe we met in
Prabex.
China, definitely, and
Oh, we met
I'm
in China, didn't we? That was
yeah.
2016. That's right. Cool. Obviously, a lot's changed since then, since we first met. But what we're going to be talking about today is give your the audience a bit of background on your business. But seller support, we know in Q4 they're a fucking nightmare to deal with anyway, right? They drive us mad. And sometimes with respect, because I've got a couple of friends who work in support, so bar them, they're about as useful as a chocolate ashtray a lot of the time, right, outside the catalog team. So frustrations at Christmas. So more today is going to be about reiterating, getting the best results from seller support, bit of a checklist, run through those, make your life painful as we dial down into the last 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah,
Off you go,
that's
John.
awesome. Off I go. Yeah, so a little bit about me, I suppose. Like just the 30 seconds is yeah, me and Danny met in China because I was running an agency back
Hmm.
then, and I've actually lived in Vietnam most of the time. So I'm in Vietnam right now,
Yeah,
other side of the world.
yeah,
And from out of that agency, like the business developed and we realized that we can't deliver amazing results for everyone because they might not
right,
have products that fit the Amazon marketplace.
yeah,
But everyone hates, as you dealing with it, as you said, dealing with seller support.
yeah,
So we can deliver a super high quality experience for all of those guys. And we basically built our entire business around taking away the pain of seller support with a
hmm,
team of like experts who absolutely, love owning it, love it
yeah,
every day.
yeah. Cool. Let's kick things off then. So number one.
Number one. Wow, I got some numbered slides in the background, don't I?
Mm,
So we got 70 people.
yeah,
40 of them are basically ex-seller support agents. So we have an approach that we do when dealing with seller support.
yeah,
The first thing that we always do is we try not to deal with seller support.
yeah.
So as much as possible, you know,
Avoid it. Yeah,
avoid it, Google it, search the forums, create a
yeah,
flat file. If you have to delete release even, delete the product so that it resets and
yeah,
relist it, then that's number one,
yeah.
Try not to deal with seller support.
Okay. Number two, then. So so number one, do not deal with seller support where necessary. It's going to save you a lot of money in therapy sessions, right? So that when you think about the per hour rates of therapy sessions, they don't need to be included in your weekly therapy sessions and taking up time on more important stuff. So number two,
Number two is you help them to be as efficient as possible.
mm,
They're not bad people. They're mostly
they
excellent
are,
people, especially the ones
yeah,
I've chatted to.
yeah,
And they're just as handcuffed and constrained to the system as we are.
yeah,
So help them, help them, help them.
yeah,
That's give them, easy to bounce off, things to say. Don't make them write a super emotional response to your super emotional email and help them calm you down because
yeah,
that's just a waste of their time and you're just going to stress them out.
yeah,
So help them say, this is my issue. This is the outcome I'm going for. And yeah, these are the steps which I've tried thus far. So give them
yeah.
as much information as possible as if you're telling your friend about it, not just like, this is my issue, fix it for me. Because they have to start from first principles as well. And they've got a
Mm.
very, very limited amount of time to hit their KPI and get
I
it
think
solved
got
for you.
18 minutes on the first opening of a ticket,
Mm.
maximum 18 minutes. Yeah,
Yeah, you're right. That's it. Just
yeah,
yeah, and that's the weird thing. We actually hire the people at Seller Candy who are the ones who didn't meet their KPIs because they actually wanted to go beyond, above and beyond, and solve the ticket.
yeah,
Because the KPI-driven people, like they get their bonus, and their bonus is closing your ticket in 18 minutes.
yeah,
So they're going to close your ticket in 18 minutes if
yeah,
they want their money.
yeah. That's true. So feed them to what they need. Number three.
Three, I'm gonna mess up all the numbers.
Yeah. Or the
Let's
next
just
one. We'll just go to the next one because it'll be all over the shop otherwise. Yeah.
yeah. So always reopen your tickets. People say, should I open 10 tickets for the same issue because it'll make Amazon faster? I mean, in our experience, Amazon will just merge your tickets.
Hmm.
So open one ticket and then don't let them close it because
Yeah.
that's another KPI metric for them.
Yeah.
So however many ticket reopens they get is against their KPIs.
Can I put a
So
caveat in there? I
yeah,
would
sure.
say open the same ticket, but make sure you're editing and resending.
Mm,
Don't just keep resending the same ticket because it gets lost in the system, right? So often the reason why you're not getting the results you're looking for, there's not enough keywords in the ticket. So if you get it closed and you push it out again, you're just going to go down the same alleyway, same paths. So make sure that you're adjusting your tickets to meet the needs, so it then gets piped to the right section, department, sorry, based on the information it provides to the API.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, do what
AI,
Danny
not
says.
the API, sorry, the AI. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly what Danny says.
Yeah.
Edit your tickets. Try and re-explain it in a different way. Don't use all caps. Don't shout at them. It's the quickest way to get them to shut you down.
Yeah.
So
Be nice.
we've seen all
Kind.
sorts of stuff. Yeah, because these people are, just trying to make a living, and we are living a better living than they are most of the time.
Yeah. And like we don't want to go to therapy dealing with them, I'm sure the bullshit they have to deal with sellers as well.
Yeah, and they're more likely because they've got to do it all day.
Both barrels from sellers on a daily basis. Lots of them. Do you know what I mean? That's abuse. Yeah.
Yeah, especially from people that don't pull their punches.
Yeah, exactly. Who don't mind the words. We all do it though. We all lose our rag at some point. What's the next one, John?
Next one. So, as you said, Amazon uses a mixture of AI and a system called Workflow, which is like their internal Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And they follow through, through a ladder, through a tree diagram back to the answer, and then they have to copy and paste it in.
Yeah.
So, it is their failure in not solving our issue, but it's also our failure, as you said, in explaining it in the right keywords so they can solve the problem. Yeah. So, as much as possible, if we know how it needs to be solved, we tell them, the back looks all right. Everything looks okay in the listing. Can you please just try and refresh the listing for me?
Yeah.
And, they should be able to hopefully enact what we say, unless they're really just.
And it's important to say as well, don't use FBA language. We pick up stuff in the groups. We all say, start talking to about the honeymoon period. Who in support's going to have a fucking clue about the honeymoon period? No idea. They're not going to tell you anything about A9, right? And they're not going to tell you about metrics behind the buy box. They just don't know. They're not given that information. So if you can work to the wiki in terms of the language that they use, is trying to use the closest language to what the associates use, and that's going to make their lives a bit easier as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And also, once you've raised this, if you can either wait for Amazon to get back to you, which is a strategy, or you can request a callback. So either request a callback on the ticket or go into your brand screen, into your brand manager screen, and request a callback there.
Yeah.
And once you've got a callback, ideally you've raised a ticket. Even better, you've raised a feed file, and you've got the feed file reference number, which when you uploaded it, and that gives you full traceability. So they can't just say they're noting it down. You say, okay, can you please put me through to someone who can take action to follow up on this number and this number?
Yeah.
And you may have to call them 3 times, but eventually you will get through to someone who can fix it. And that's how you get stuff done, same day, next day, not 2 weeks later.
Yeah. And when cases are passed amongst the different associates, everyone who touches it ends up annotating as well. So a good thing to have practice on, and I'm not sure if you put this in the notes, writing your tickets all in English, because it's the most well-spoken language across all associates, or at least comprehension. If they're German, they're fluent in English, French, fluent in English, etc.
Yeah, exactly. So always raise in English, and ask for the leadership team when you're on the phone. That's what is language they will understand. Yeah. And they'll know the leadership team. Yeah. The best one I've heard recently, I shared it when we were met in Australia a few weeks ago, was one of our clients. She's like, I get through to leadership team 100% of the time. And I was like, oh, really? You get through the leadership team? Yeah. And she was like, yeah, I just break down crying in the middle of the phone call. Like super nice Aussie woman. And I was like, wow, the 2 times that she sat there for an hour, she got through to leadership team. Yeah. So doesn't really fit our SOP. I don't think if all our agents, 40 of them, started crying every day. Yeah. But
no, they'll catch on to that eventually, won't they? What's next on the list, John?
So the associate's not likely going to be an expert in your issue. The person you're contacting, likely they're not an expert in anything, especially if they joined after 2019, which is when Amazon stopped training their seller support to solve issues and started training them to use the system, which, we all understand. We're all business owners. Like, we want people to run the system and we want them to be as replaceable as possible. Yeah. But it really de-skilled their workforce, especially when they leave and then come work for us, because they're the people we want to hire. So be patient, let them work through the SOP, let them go through step by step, take you through the steps, especially on the phone. And a bit of loving compassion, even when we want to rip our hair out,
Yeah.
as
Please.
Tony
Thank
Robbins
you.
says.
I
Yeah, as
appreciate
Tony
you.
Robbins says, like, I'm a big follower of Tony Robbins, and he's always like, yeah, that's interesting. It's really interesting. How did you manage to screw that up so badly? That's a real skill, being able to mess it up that badly.
Yeah. Cool. What else have we got there?
What else we got? We have got, as you said, don't ask for additional information. Like when you're through sales support, they won't know how you can get your buy box back unless they'll copy and paste you a response. You need to improve your metrics.
Yeah.
Indexing, any internal information that's not in the SOPs. You can't request stuff that isn't in the back of Seller Central because they're not gods. They're not special. And I guess the last thing really in the main points is request callbacks. As we said earlier, as we chatted about, it sucks talking to them on the phone, but you will get things solved faster.
But it's more context because they can ask questions of you. So you write a ticket, you then send the ticket through. You got your ticket number, make the phone call, reference the ticket, and then they can go, oh, what do you mean by this? What can you add here? Have you got this piece of information, etc. Right? So that makes it a lot easier in context instead of going back and forth on messages.
Yeah. And that's our secret sauce.
Yeah.
All of our secrets is just do what you're supposed to do 5 hours a day, over and over again. Just follow the process, Yeah. Because that's how you get things done.
Any funny stories for me? Because there's normally people got some killer stories for seller support, like wind-ups and stuff.
I've got some good. I mean, I think the crying one, which is Rosalind in Oz, she's great. Yeah. I love her. What else has happened recently? We've got some good success stories, but that's just us tooting our own horn.
Yeah.
I should have come up with some funny stories. We could have had a funny story session. I could have polled the team. What's the last obscure random thing that seller support told you, which definitely makes absolutely zero sense?
Yeah. As I was going to ask you, any new information in and around the catalog team? I mean, they're the most precious of the bunch, right? That's where most of your technical talent sits and where most things get solved. Anything around that? We talked about the whole IIDP versus captive, etc., etc. Do you want to explain your version of the captive team? Because people obviously talk about the captive team. It's been going on since
the captive team, the leadership team, the IIDP team.
Yeah. IIDP is more recognised in Europe, but still it gets recognised in the US. Yeah.
So I mean, for us, it's all about the leadership team.
Yeah.
So trying to get through to the leadership team, and just staying on the phone and getting passed around. Get passed around as many times as possible. Eventually, they want to get rid of you. And calling in the hours that they're actually online. I know it sounds stupid, but call them when they're working. Yeah. And these guys are more senior, so they're going to be working during working hours in the time zone you're calling in. So, there's no secret sauce for us about these teams. It's making sure we got the flat file. Ideally, we got the feed file. We've made the updates because a lot of issues can be traced back to listing issues, whether it's suspensions, suppressions, anything. Sanitize your listing, blast it clean with a feed file before you call them. Get them to refresh it. If that doesn't work, raise a case again, call them up, get them to refresh it, and just work through that way. Sanitize your listings, especially if it's down and you've got nothing else to lose. Sanitize it, then add the content back after you've got your listing back up. Yeah. It's our way to approach it.
Cool. Best way people can reach John?
Best way, you can check out sellercandy.com. That's our website. You can always drop me an email. It's john@sellercandy.com. And if you don't mind me plugging something, Danny, there's actually something we're trying out now.
Go on.
So another thing, just like when we saw that everyone was having issues with seller support, is everyone asks questions to everyone. So I bet you get inundated with technical questions on your Facebook or places like that.
Yeah. Well, more private messages, but
private messages and stuff like that. So we wanted to figure out a way of answering that in the industry. So what we're doing is we're creating another portal, because Seller Candy is a portal-based service. You log in or you give project management to our clients. We're creating a question service. Yeah. So rather than us fixing it for you, you can just log in. log in, ask any question, any technical question, how to solve it. Our team will write you back a step-by-step of how to solve it.
Yeah.
It's ideally going to be something like $29 a month, but if you register before it goes live, then we'll give it you free for life.
Yeah.
So just free question and answer service, anything Amazon, sellercandy.com/ask. It's not launched yet. It'll be launched in the next 2 to 4 weeks, to be honest, because they're building the back end for it.
Yep.
But if you register now at sellercandy.com/ask, then we'll give you a space, either the first October 31st or the first 150 registrants. We'll give it to you for free forever.
Sounds good. Guys, thank you for joining us today. Obviously, John, thanks for joining us. It'd be good to see you soon. I'm sure maybe I'll see you at Christmas for the Christmas party, December 3rd. You think you head to London?
3rd. I'm in Vietnam at a virtual Tony Robbins event in the USA.
Right. Okay. So I won't see you. Maybe I'll see you back in London next year. Guys,
sure.
thank you for joining us today. John, thank you for joining us. If this is your first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you again very soon.